Mark Johnson from HP. So this is not really a structured panel at all. I really just want to have a discussion, and I was going to have it by myself, but lo and behold,
people showed up.
Pat McGrew from InfoTrends and Keypoint Intelligence is here, and Eric Holdo, my new BFF, who is holding my little baby alien. That's how much I love him.
I'm chopped liver?
You can have the green guy. Here you go, Marcus.
There you go. There you go.
Because we love our HP. And Mark from
I get to hold Deb.
Yay! Mark Johnson from HP is here. And what I really want to talk about, I don't want to talk about products and services. I don't care about that anymore. Show is over. I want to talk about what has been going on in the rest of this hall, because I don't know. I am facing the people. I mean, I strategically turn my booth around to face the people who are, you know, walking on the show floor and coming up the escalators, the attendees, and not face the exhibitors. And also because they say we're too loud, so that solves some of the problems. Let me start with you, Eric. You're up in the, you're not up in the front, you're like middle front, like where?
Right, we're as you walked in the main room there, we were sort of to the right and back, and about a...
Can't miss you.
Can't miss us. It was 16,000 square foot booth.
Your biggest booth ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And biggest booth in the show.
Were the people visiting you asking buying questions or kicking tire questions?
It's always going to be both, but we actually, without betraying anything here, we had a phenomenal selling
The bell
show.
kept going on.
The bell kept ringing. I mean, and it was MGI stuff. It was 6100s, our new push button calibrated system. It was everything in the booth. The solutions we're selling, and we've got as of yesterday we had something like 2,300 unique scans and 400 people that asked to actually be contacted.
Holy cow.
Yeah, they actually wanted specific. They wanted a person to call them, not just send me information.
Wow,
that's a big difference for
Wow.
us.
That's amazing. But I want to try to ascertain, based upon what they were buying,
Yeah.
can you see some sort of trend as far as what kind of printing they're trying to get into or enhance in some way?
Absolutely, it's been exactly where we've all been predicting, and you guys have been predicting packaging and labeling.
Yeah.
It's been in book publishing actually. We've had quite a bit in dust covers, believe it or not. Huge stuff for dust covers, dust jackets, but a lot have been just, you know, the technology refresh, and the toner production print market's gotten kind of boring of late, as far as I'm concerned. But now with this new touch, you know, this one-button calibration thing, it's really changing a lot, because linearizing the press, calibrating and doing a device profile in 14 minutes automatically, it saves time. So a small printer is going to be able to save a lot of time and money, and that actually drove a lot of volume. Was just, you know, traditional guys that are in the toner-based business, and they're just trying to deliver the best image quality for the best, you know, best value. But really, a lot of the excitement was definitely the packaging, labeling, the embellishment side, and even the chipless RFID stuff, the near-field communications printing, conductive electronics. I was hopeful that was going to attract attention, but as we made it part of the story of the packaging and labeling side of the business and what that means, it became very, very busy.
So before I get to HP, now that you have ascertained a pattern, how is Konica Minolta going to capitalize on that and start communicating with those people? Are you going to communicate with them in a different way?
We're already starting to communicate much more in social media and in other alternative methods, but ultimately we've got a couple of thousand salespeople on the field, right? So we are going to start arming them with some of these new applications, because there's just no better way to prove it than to show it, really. And so now we've already started developing some NFC apps for packaging to show not only a package being able to be paid for electronically as you push your cart through the scanner, but even to interact with your phone and to have customer service type of questions or pricing questions and things like that. So we're going to try and build a model that the reps can use internally to show where the value is.
Mark, what's been going on in the HP booth and in general up on that front end of the show?
So we didn't have the biggest booth. We had the booth right in front. So when you came past registration, you walked through HP for the most part, and it was really crazy busy for us. One of our largest deal ever in our graphic solutions business was announced here at the show. We have 24 of our inkjet presses being installed at Lightning Source over the course of the next,
Mark.
thank you, over the next 7
HP.
years, 5 different sites on 3 continents. So I think what we can officially say now is the transformation of book printing to digital is pretty much a done
Sealed,
thing.
yeah.
It's pretty much a sealed thing. I can't say it's finished because there's still a lot of analog work being done.
It's what was out there latent
Yeah.
is done.
Yeah.
They're like offset book printing is not dead, but it has its purpose.
Harry Potter is still going to be printed with offset.
You got
know,
it.
The
Yeah.
millions and millions,
Yeah.
huge bestseller runs. Hillary's book is being done in offset.
Yeah, but then we'll
the
have
reprints
to
are going
see-
to be reprints are going to be done on digital.
Yeah, and so that's it. I mean, this is where
Exactly.
the two technologies work together.
Yeah. So we are thrilled to be a part of that. We've had a number of Indigo announcements. Preferred Marketing has made an announcement with Inkjet. So lots of deals have happened, not before the show, at the show, which we're really thrilled with. And then you look at it, because it's HP, we have the big universe of everything. So we've got the wallpaper, the wall coverings, the flooring, the industrial print, the Print OS. For the Moment Camp thing has been awesome. If you haven't had a chance to see it, you may have your last chance before the show's over. Get your picture taken, do a little meme of it, and you can print it out live. And that's kind of cool because that shows not just what you can do that's neat with the technology, but it shows how it integrates inside of Print OS, which is our whole multi-platform, multi-vendor open solution to help get work from idea to final print.
So if I was a smart printer or marketer or somebody who offered some service to printers as far as helping them with lead generation, what can I ascertain by this purchase in this shift in publishing? Where are the other opportunities for how to complement any of that?
It's a good question. I'm a commercial printer of a certain size. What can I do that I'm not doing today? What can I do that's adjacent? Is that a fair way to ask?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to publish the books, what else can you do to get in on this trend now?
So what we're seeing, everything is more personal. It's faster, more personal, faster time to market. Not just faster to get production. I mean, the number of feet per minute, sheets per minute, big deal. We can all print fast. It's how do I get from the marketeer, the agency is done with the file, getting it out into the mail, into the customer's mailbox. How do I make that happen faster? That's been a big driver for a lot of smaller campaigns. I'm not seeing, as many people doing millions and millions of direct mails. I'm seeing much more segmented drops and much more timely drops where things are happening based on triggers and actions.
But the other thing is market development. So the thing that the vendors have figured out, the print hardware vendors has figured out, is that you've got to be the partner, right? So if I'm a commercial printer who's printing those books or printing magazines or magalogs or whatever, at some point they're going to turn to Mark, they're going to turn to Eric, they're going to turn to the business development person that's probably been assigned to them, and they're going to say, all right, well, what can you do for me now?
Now
right?
what?
Now what? Now, okay, I got that under control, but now how do I grow my business? And each one of the vendors has gotten some very smart people on board that can look beyond what they just printed and say, okay, well, have you considered wide format? There are ways, if you're a commercial printer, it's not hard to dovetail your workflow into a wide format device. It's not hard to dovetail your workflow into, in some cases, a direct-to-garment device.
Right, and it's not something that you want to just say every commercial printer should be getting into textiles and fabric and flooring and this and
No,
that.
but there are things,
But it's a good, a smart business development person is going to look at the company, look at the culture of the company, the smarts that are within the company, who their customers are, and help them figure out what makes sense, what can they go after and attack. And I think we've all got biz dev teams that are expert at doing that. And we also work with consulting teams.
So the salespeople are really smart, right? I mean, anybody who's selling digital print in this industry right now, from a hardware perspective, they're smart people. Trust me, they got to know their stuff. They can't survive as a salesperson.
Well, none of us close the deal when the deal's done, right? This is an ongoing relationship.
You hand it off into biz dev and market dev, and everybody out there will help you grow your business.
Can I just get the other handheld so Eric can have a microphone too, if you don't mind? Okay, so
I'm not allowed to.
no,
Not letting him get
I'm
a
just
word
saying
in
it's just
edgewise.
easier. It's just
Warwick, you
easier.
hold yours this way.
No, I just want to, in case Eric, if he wanted to say something, he would have. But
He jumps in. He's
right.
good at this.
So here's the thing. When I was at Printing Impressions at NAPCO Media, and they made a video with me, and they asked me why people should come to the show, and my answer was discovery.
Yes.
That they should come. They're coming here because they know stuff and they're looking at it, but they don't have to come here to do that. They can. I'm sure any of these any of the manufacturers on the end will gladly fly you or drive you or whatever and get you information. But what I was saying is that you want to come for the things you don't know about. So there's two parts of this question. First, I want to learn from you what you discovered at the show. I don't care who it is. They don't have to be in the alliance. What did you discover out there that you were like, okay, this is really cool, or this would be a good compliment for my customers, or anything like that? And then what are people discovering about your products and services and people that, when you're talking to them, you're seeing the light bulb go off. Oh, I didn't know. And then you can answer that in an overall sense. Either, anybody. Eric.
So, it's been so busy in the booth that getting around has been a little tough. I've honestly been most interested to see the actual quality coming off of some of the presses that we hear talked about all the time. And I will tell you that certain brands that were at the front, not HP, the quality is, they've got their samples behind glass. Because they have to. Because they
There's
have
a reason.
There's a reason. So without diminishing them. So actually, I felt a little bit better about some of my competitors. These guys are always fantastic competitors and, great products, so nothing bad to say there. As a matter of fact, one of their guys came into our booth to look at some of our
Vice versa.
Of our
We're
stuff.
open.
We come in all the time. So, but great products. I just think that for the most part, I saw some software solutions that are interesting. But I gotta say, I didn't see anything that blew me away other than some of the other products. And maybe it's just because, we're always looking 3 to 5 to 7 years out anyway. So when you see something, it's like, okay, yeah, I know, that makes sense. But I really didn't see anything mind-blowing, frankly, other than stuff that was in my booth.
Of course.
And what were people discovering about Konica Minolta that they didn't know before?
That one's easy. We had people coming in there going, I had no idea this is what you guys were doing. No idea we had such good coffee. Exactly right. And actually, our little coffee shop, all that was printed with our products at the show and cut out with the products. And actually, some HP products that we use in those as well that Konica Minolta resells in wide format.
What didn't they know that you were doing?
They had no idea that they didn't realize the size and scope of things in the label side of things, in the larger sheet size B2 Plus 23 by 29. We sold a couple of KM1s here, which is a big deal. They didn't realize that on the MGI side, the scope of that. I think a lot of them had seen MGI products in the past that were smaller format, for digital, for 13 by 19 type devices. They had no idea we had something that handled 29 by 45 inch sheets.
Is that a marketing problem?
No, those products have just gotten launched in the market, so it's
so
new.
great.
It's great stuff, but it really it's the expression on their face when they walk in, and they think they know Konica Minolta because of our copiers from the past, right? And they're like, I'm going to go talk to the big boys. I don't have anything to talk to Konica Minolta about. And then they get to our booth and they're like, wow, I had no idea. Yeah, had no idea, and it was exciting, and the reaction to not only the hardware but to some of the software solutions that we're doing and some of the applications that we're developing for the future. It really kept the conversation exciting, and every place along the way we're trying to share with people how they make money at this.
Yeah.
So we were showing ROI calculations for the embellishment, for the foil. So here's how you're actually going to go make money. And like I've said a few times on these panels, don't drop your price just because it costs less to make it.
That's what I tell all the inkjet people.
Add
Stop
value.
Yeah.
saying it's cheap print. Sell it at the same price.
Exactly.
There's more value to it. I can do whatever I want with it. I'm willing
Right.
to actually pay more for that, quite frankly, not less.
And-
And the printer
the
has
other-
more margins.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you guys did, which was really good, is that you also spotlighted your workflow. And so it wasn't just a look at our really cool piece of hardware, look at our really cool equipment, look at
Right.
our really great print quality. You told people how to get there.
Exactly, and that's actually where I've spent most of my time. I mean, obviously the MGI stuff happens out of France. We interact with them here in the States. A lot of the other devices get developed out of Japan. Here in the U.S., my focus is very much about the software solutions we bring in. So we have a couple of solutions that are Konica Minolta built, but everything else is really a suite or an ecosystem of products that works together, that allows us to go into any environment, and if they have a competitor's product or some other product, we can plug all that into the same workflow if it makes sense. But the most important thing in those situations where we start with our lean assessments, that we've got to start with that, make sure the foundation is solid, and then go from there. And then we can determine what workflow solution is best.
Thanks so much. Mark, discovery, yours and what people are discovering about HP.
So here's the way, historically, back in my day, historically, Drupa is the oh wow show, because that's all the new stuff that's going to be released in a year or two at a show like this. Those cycles are not 4 years anymore. We don't have the oh my gods at Drupa and then the selling show in Chicago. That being said, nothing jumped out here as an oh my god, this is so brand new, I never saw it coming. I had the same reaction you did, Eric, looking at a lot of, or not being able to look at some of my competitors' output. That was bizarre. But one of the big ahas that I had, and this was really, this made the whole show for me, we had a print procurement director from one of the largest magazine publishers in the world look at our stuff and go, this is litho quality, it's fine. I can do it. There's nothing different. This is not different.
What were
than
they
I'm
looking
used
at
to.
specifically? The inkjet?
Yeah,
Inkjet stuff?
Inkjet
Okay.
as a magazine application. We've had that experience with Indigo for years. Indigo and Offset always, very, very compatible with each other. But this is the first year I've heard mainstream people go, Inkjet, Offset, that's fine. I think we finally crossed that threshold where we used to apologize, business color, good enough color, pleasing color. Inkjet wasn't quite there yet. I think at this show, across the board for many of us, this is where it crossed.
Well, let me tell you, I talk to the people, and there's people out there that don't even know what inkjet is.
I
my
know,
friend.
right? And that's what we got to get the message
So
out.
we have
but
to-
sometimes they're looking at it and they don't know it.
True.
Correct. But what I'm saying is that, and I said this on a panel yesterday, that, you guys invest in technology, you put it out there, you build presses, you've got to sell them. We all get that, but sometimes you're focusing on those people in the sales funnel so much and pushing the messaging and the education to the people who are a little further advanced in that sales funnel that you are totally forgetting to create a new people to kind of come up behind them. They're not getting those messages.
Well, I think the thing that we're trying to do is the print should be agnostic. It should be the right application for the right time for the right fit.
But they don't even know to look for inkjet as a solution for themselves. At least
doesn't even
some
need
of the
to be,
people
yeah.
in this booth.
I think that part of that, though, is if you look at where Inkjet is from a practical perspective, it's in volumes, it's in larger volumes and bigger machines, really, than some printers are going to be able to afford
Gotcha.
and take on. So that's going to change. I think over time, you're going to see a confluence of things, and from all vendors, you'll see some products hit both ends of the market to make it more approachable. But for the moment, let's just face it, these are more expensive machines, and so the ones that are advanced, they're making those investments. The ones that aren't should at least know about them, but they should also remember Inkjet is, again, in the spot UV marketplace and foil and whatnot. It's in the conductive electronics. Inkjet is much more than just CMYK.
Yeah.
Right. So, Pat, you obviously had a little more freedom than the rest of us to walk around the show. And it does not matter if they're in my alliance or not. I want the people to know what is out there, what resonated with you, and I mean, you know what I'm talking about. What
Yep.
was your discovery at the show?
So I like to walk the show from two directions. I want to hit the big booths. I want to see what's big, what's cool, what the big guys, spent the money to bring. Having been on the other side for a long time and knowing what it costs to bring the stuff to the show and having a healthy respect for the budgets, what did you guys decide was important enough to take up floor space on the show and pay the drayage on,
Yep.
right? I mean, and so I thought bringing the MGI machine was a brilliant move. I know that was expensive, but I think that it did what it needed to do.
And they all sold off the floor.
God bless them.
Everything in that booth.
God bless them. That bell kept ringing. So every time they did a big sell in the Conica Bolt, they were ringing a bell, and I kept hearing the bell ring. I was sitting with Gavin at one point, and the bell went off, and he goes, "Oh, that's number, yeah, okay." So very happy people in the Conica booth. But same thing in the HP booth. It's a hard decision to know, and the vast array of things that HP has to bring. Now, the thing that I was really impressed with in the HP booth is it's very hard to bring big inkjet equipment into a hall like this for a very short show. It's a tremendous, agonizing decision that you make, and I like your VR approach. So
Do you like the HoloLens?
So you might remember that we did this with Erasma back a few years ago.
I held it in my hand.
We held the press in our hand on a tablet, but they did a VR approach with the inkjet press, and it gives you the ability to show every device and even walk around the device and sort of get a real sense
Walk
of it.
inside the device.
Walk inside the device without the cost of bringing the device, which I think the sad thing is everybody wants to kick the tires, but I think that as a solution for shows is a really good one.
We actually did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Cam One, and
Yep.
and you fell down to be the size of the dot of the ink dot.
And it's just the things that you can do in the customer experience can be really fabulous. So I think the big guys did a good job. Now the Reco booth, I think the Reco opened up their story this year. In the past, their booth was walls, and you had to know which little cubby hole to go into to figure out who to talk to. This time, they opened it up, they made it broader, and one of my favorite areas of their booth really had little or nothing to do with their printing equipment, but with their new business consulting services, which speaks to the same thing of business development and helping the customer understand what they need to know.
I like that.
And I think that they did, Ryan Kiley was doing the presentation, and he's drawing on the board, and I think he did a fabulous job of explaining the value proposition. And whether you buy it from them, or you go to Eric, or you go to Mark, or you go to one of the other vendors, now you really understand why you want to have that conversation. So I thought that they did a really great job. I think that, you look at Fujifilm and Xerox, they made their announcement here about doing cross-selling each other. We'll just have to see how that all works out. I think that, partnerships and alliances are a really great thing. But the coolest things I saw had nothing to do with you guys, right? And it's not unusual,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because even when Deb, when you and I were walking Drupa, we found the really cool things were typically
In the
hidden,
teeny
tiny little places, right?
two-person
Innovation. The
stands
innovation.
with a leaflet, and you're like, "What's that?" And it's like,
You go,
"What?"
Holy cow, look at that. And so there was some of the holy cow. I had a couple of holy cow moments. I also had a couple of,
So can you tell us what they?
I'm going to
Okay,
get there in a
sorry.
second, but then I also had a couple of,
WTF moments?
yeah. I mean, people paid to be here with this booth to sell me what?
Yeah.
Exactly. So so there was a little good, a little bad, but I think when you walk up and down the aisles that are sort of further away from the big guys, where they have the binding solutions and the different kinds of embellishment solutions and the different kinds of presentation solutions, there were some people doing some really cool things that you just kind of walk away with ideas. You're like, oh, right, I could do that instead of doing this. So there were some interesting things. And if you're somebody who's looking, at moving into doing book output, and you don't yet have your binding solutions figured out, or you're maybe doing corporate report and presentation things, and you're looking for something cool, there were some cool things to look at. Over on the software aisles, as I was walking up and down, we did another panel here where we were talking about some of those solutions. I think that any commercial printer who doesn't currently have a good workflow product in their midst, and wasn't quite ready to commit to a really big spend, there were some really good compact solutions that were end-to-end over on those aisles that were worth looking at.
Do you want to call any out? I mean,
I love PrintIQ.
Okay, yeah.
I think PrintIQ does a fabulous job of telling the story differently and making it accessible to business managers.
They made a very big impression on the Printerverse.
Yeah, I think that they are bringing a solution that's born out of understanding what a commercial printer's problem really is, and they have the advantage that a lot of companies don't have. They got to start greenfield, and they didn't have to sort of lay it on top. I like a lot of the solutions in the EFI booth. EFI is a massive company that owns just so much, but if I'm just getting into, if I think packaging is an opportunity for me, I'm going to go sit in front of the corrugated packaging suite of products that they have to at least learn what I'm going to have to understand how to do. So there was a lot of that I took away. A lot of vendors figured out that education was the way to do things, so there were a lot of little mini theaters and really good presentations on the floor that I really liked. Direct Mail 2.0 was doing a really nice presentation.
They're my new friends.
They were doing a great
They're in
presentation.
Clearwater, Florida. They invited me to a conference. That's the one I told you about.
Yeah, we actually we had them in our booth last year at Graph
I
Expo,
told you, I sent you a picture.
and we're developing a relationship with them. Their print side is Postcard Mania down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's we have a KM1. In that
and I mean they understand.
I told you
the
last night, you're like,
value.
I don't know what that is. Now
No,
you're
I
an
did.
expert on it.
No,
Yeah.
go back and check your
Okay.
text
You
message.
said that's our customer. That's true.
Yeah,
You said,
yeah.
all right.
But I
I'm
think
sorry.
that they're doing the right thing. They're doing the education piece.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm not going to try and sell you on what I can do for. I'm going to explain to you why this is important.
Absolutely.
And the use of the space to do that was good. Now, you can't walk the show floor here without running into the Scissorhands girls.
Of course.
Do you know I have no idea what they do? Besides
Okay.
walk around with scissor hands.
They walk
And-
around with
and
scissor
so-
hands.
But I don't. But I
But
want to
you
tell
know
you something.
Sean, but you
I
don't care, right?
But I want to tell you something. I'm trying to tell you something. I don't know what scissor hands is or what it does.
We
They
sell
cut.
it.
Didn't know
We sell
what
it.
it is.
It's in our booth.
They cut stuff.
I
cut
know
stuff.
that there's girls that walk around with scissor hands, but if you ask me what
They do what Sean does. Most
I
of
know,
it
but do you
does.
understand what I'm saying? I don't know what
I
they
know
do.
exactly what you
Right.
are saying.
I'm saying I know what pretty much a lot of people do. I have no idea what they do.
Well, let's put it this way.
They
Since
sell
they've been doing
what
that,
you
Scissor
don't know what
girls.
they're
that
doing.
thing, it doesn't really matter. It attracts people into a.
Like the
Gets
aliens.
people into,
you know,
it gets people
you got a
into
small
a conversation.
small booth with a cutter
And
and
what do you
something.
do again?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You,
No, I
but
get
you
it.
had to explain the scissor hand
The-
thing. But
I don't
then
have
if,
booth babes. I have booth aliens.
but if
Exactly.
you get into that booth, and once you get past the girl with the
Yeah.
scissor hands, the girls with the scissor hands, there's 4 of them. What they will then suck you into the world of OpenSoft
OpenSoft,
and everything, and they will explain to you about Vinci, which is a very nice package, right?
I've been screaming
this
about
is-
Da Vinci.
This is
Vinci.
what Da Vinci and Scissorhands
partner of yours?
is a
Oh,
big
you're
big
scissor
partner.
hands too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We only ever talked about Da Vinci. Oh, because that's how you cut it after you Da Vinci it?
Exactly.
Yeah, you Da Vinci it, then you scissor hands
Oh,
it.
I get it. I like. I
Yeah.
can remember it that way.
We probably, it's funny because now we're starting to sell Edotech cutters, and the Edotech cutters with the Scissorhands on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic combination.
And this is, and I've been into print shops this year that have the scissor hand solutions already. I mean, it's something that you might not know, but other people have figured out. The other thing that that is in that booth, so it's sort of they got something for everybody in that booth. So that's also Ink Router and Rent-A-Press. So if you're in
That's
the trade,
Robert Godwin
that-
who
yeah,
bought my
Bob
mother a
has
drink.
been back. Yeah, Bob's been through. So with Ink Router, it's for trade printers to become part of an alliance, so that they can fulfill on behalf of they can do things for you that maybe you don't want to invest in yourself. And Rent-A-Press is sort of a spin on that. But I think that. The fact that they are on the floor and that people are stopping and talking to them, I think that tells you that there's more to a Print 17 event than just coming and kicking the tires on a new piece of
not just
equipment.
the big iron.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of learning that you can do on the floor, and there's a lot of options for your business.
and networking. That's the
Yeah.
other,
Yeah,
the one
it's
missing thing
really
that we
big.
haven't talked about. Why do people come to
Yeah.
a show like this?
Yeah.
From what I've been talking
yeah.
with some of the NPES folks, the educational sessions have
Yeah.
actually been getting more play this year than ever before, which is a huge thing. And
Did
it's
you
also
see
for people to get together and
downstairs,
share.
they
Yeah,
had
downstairs.
Career Awareness Day was
Did-
buses of students.
The kids today,
That's
I gotta
good.
tell you,
Buses of students.
it was awesome to
Yeah.
see so many college and
Yeah.
high school kids, and this is the most I've
Yeah.
seen in a number
Oh,
of years
and
here.
shout out, my child did the keynote down
Yeah,
there.
but
All
I
right.
also need to shout out to NPES and GASC this year
Yeah.
because something has changed about this show.
It did.
And I really have to say that Thayer has done a great
Yeah.
job
He has.
not
Yeah.
being in this industry. Everybody was so worried about it. He didn't
Fresh
come from
eyes.
print. You know what? It was to our benefit.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because he didn't have to treat it like, oh, well, this one needs this and this one. He was like, you know what? Let's just look at this as a show that
He
needs.
didn't owe anybody anything.
Well-
he came in and
He and everybody who works with him. Kelly Kilga has been amazing.
Yeah.
Chrissy Hahn, Dee Dee,
Yep.
Jody, Erin. I mean, I could go on. Debbie Veter. I can go on and on and on. But let's just touch upon Da Vinci for a second
Yeah.
because it was called out, and then
Yeah.
I will get your final thoughts about
Yeah.
the show, and we'll wrap it up. And then I'd like to say something before we leave. But go ahead.
Yeah, so what Da Vinci is a cloud-based system that allows me to take let's say I'm going to create a mask for embellishment or for foil, or I'm going to create a package and I want to show that die cut fold up and have the thing actually fold up and create a digital proof. How do you, as a printer today, even if you offer foil or spot UV, how do you actually upsell a client to see what it's going to look like? It's hard to do. And in marking up a mock-up is just not good, and creating a run length of one, unless you've got one of these types of presses, is almost impossible. So you create a 3D proof with Da Vinci, very simple to use. You can create all the masks. And I've got salespeople, which tells you a lot of salespeople that can now create masks that are.
Wait, I made a box in
even
your.
a salesperson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made a box at CPP Expo.
That's
I put a
right.
lizard on it, and then it closed, and it turned around, and I was like, I want this.
Yeah,
You
it's.
didn't
I
put
mean,
an alien on it?
we
It was a lizard.
next time. It was a lizard, but no, but it's a fantastic product, and we sell it with every one of those MGIs. But we're also selling it to people that are just in the packaging business, or that do greeting cards, and they want to be able to share from a design perspective. They want to share what that design is going to look like, how it's going to open, how it's going to fold, and it's just a URL. Ultimately, the proof part is just a URL that any HTML5 browser can see, and it's very, very powerful, very easy to use. And I should say that the guys at OpenSoft, it's funny because they've got their booth presence, but they are printers. They actually have print operations in the U.S. They have operations in Germany. So they know what they're designing. They know it's what you need as a printer. It's not. This isn't coming from some software guy that just had a good idea. So, and they've got a lot of developers that work on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's much larger
It's a
in the
smart
background than
team.
it seemed. Yeah.
And the thing about that is that it's really the thing that attracted me to Da Vinci is that it's kind of a mental thing. I kind of go on Domino's sometimes and build a pizza just because it's fun to build a pizza. You know, I'm serious.
I got you.
And I sometimes go to the car company sites
Yeah,
And build
and
a
I
car.
build
car,
a
yeah.
car just to build a car. It's fun. Now, it would be really cool if I could build a car and then they had a mechanism to somehow send me
it
a
out for you.
brochure that said, hey,
They
you
do.
built this
They
car.
do.
Well,
They
I don't-
actually do.
Well,
That exists.
Mini,
Yeah.
I've never gotten one. I build minis all the damn time.
Lexus.
Okay.
We've got some presses that are doing
Okay,
exactly
well, I'm just
that.
saying. So, to me, that's why I liked Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Because I could go in there and say, all right, if I put an alien on the box, and as being a print buyer, sometimes I've built media kits and boxes that, the old-fashioned way, so to speak. But my God, only when it came did you know if that crossover folded and that
Right,
thing
exactly,
touched. I mean,
exactly.
you built the
Yeah.
file correctly,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
but
that
you never
doesn't
know.
mean it was going to be
Yeah.
folded and scored in the right spot. And people lose their jobs over an eye in a crease.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
mean, my God, this thing,
You get-
exactly what it's going to look like.
And-
It's very important before you can spend that money.
And not only that, if you're laying down, let's say, a UV coat on the thing, it actually feathers down
Where
the
it
UV
shines.
at. No, but it's actually feathering down the UV at the creases, at the cuts,
Yeah.
and at the
So
folds,
you know.
so that you don't get cracking.
Yeah.
So the mask is
Really,
being
really
generated. Yeah.
It's a fantastic way for printers and their customers to collaborate.
Correct.
And I know it as being a print customer
Yeah.
that those are the vendors that I'm not going to call vendors. I'm going to call them my partners.
Right.
And that is the road here that everyone needs to be going to, as well as the one-stop print shop, which I still believe, although in another panel that we just had, the one-stop print shop does not mean you have to have all those products and services under your own roof.
That's right.
You can have a network of partners. And we just learned in these 2 hurricanes that just blew through,
Exactly.
you had better have some partners out there, because where is all that work? Look, I live in Florida. I'm not taking anything away from those print shops that unfortunately were drowned, flooded, or they had no power for weeks and stuff. But they might have customers in other states. I mean, Canada was freaking out that their gas prices were going up because we had hurricanes. So the importance of that.
Our
Mark, wanna
our
comment?
D-Scoop network went into action.
Yeah.
Actually, it went into action before the storms hit, and it happened both in Houston and in Florida. We have a lot of printers in Houston, a lot of printers in Florida. Almost immediately, because of this ability of PrintOS and the networking within the customers to work with each other seamlessly, calibrated together, everybody can work together as one family, and that was an amazing use of the users group.
And we've actually gone in, and we're about to finalize it all. We have some hurricane relief programs that printers that were taken out that they lost the equipment, what have you. Some programs that will defer payments, let them get back up and running, maybe rent the press, just to sort of get back up on their feet. And we're trying to finalize all the financials behind it right now. But the idea there is just going to be, let's get the industry back up and running and printing again.
And those are the companies that you want to be partners with. Whether I'm sure there's other people doing things like that, but the whole point of the Printerverse was to get to know the people behind in these companies, behind the logos, behind the booth numbers, and the ways that the manufacturers and the software companies can help you create connections with your customers really should be the thing, in my personal opinion, as a print customer, that you should be looking for, as well as their foresight in the technologies that I will need in 5 years, and how I can develop my markets, how I can develop my business conversations, how I can develop new revenue channels through the equipment I have with upgrades, improvements, not new. No one wants to buy new. They'll buy new, but then they want to upgrade it from that point on. I just wanted to wrap up, besides, of course, saying thank you guys so much for your time and everything, but this year we had the biggest alliance ever, and hopefully everybody knows that, the Printerverse has, we've always been global, but now that Drupa is on board, this thing is going into overdrive once their PR machine kicks in, and it's only because of all of you out there that I am sitting here. I call myself the intergalactic ambassador because I don't really know stuff, and I don't have a problem. I know what I know. I'll put it to you that way. And what I don't know, I don't have a problem asking about, and I don't have a problem say, stop selling me and start telling me. And I represent the people out there, and the people this year, in my opinion, had a bigger voice than anybody at this show. Whether it was the panel topics and the conversations we were having here, or the conversations you were able to have after these panels, because believe me, we see the people following you around. We know that the Printerverse and these panels have led to sales and partnerships, intergalactic partnerships, as a matter of fact. So I just really wanted to take this time to thank everybody who stopped by the booth. How many scans, Mom? almost 1,600 scans just by 2 people, mind you. Back here, 1,600, 1,600 that we scanned. There are people like you've been here many times. David's been here a couple of times. Howard. There are people we just don't. We gave up scanning because we've tried. So there's been way more than 2,000 people here easily, just coming for honest conversation. We've also learned that you guys don't always communicate clearly. We've also learned that there are gaping holes from everyone wanting to push forward, sell, to let's go back and create more people to put down this funnel. It maybe that needs to be done in a different way because there are different owners now. But ultimately, you guys out there all had the voice. You guys out there and in here put me up here. So thank you so much. And we're going global, people. So happy Print 17. We are done. It's been a stellar year. I have nothing else to say except print long and prosper, people. Yay.
Yay, it's a wrap.
Except thank you so much to everybody who worked in the booth.
Thank Mom.
My mom back there, Lady Scan a lot.
Hey, Mom.
She comes for load in and load out, and I drag her to the parties, and she's a very good sport, considering that basically if it's down there, she's responsible for it, and it's up here, I'm responsible for it. So thank you so much, Mom. Could not do it without you, although something tells me next year I'm about to find out how I'm going to do without her. Want to thank Jack, our photographer, local photographer from Chicago. We'll share his info. And Mandy, our videographer, also local from Chicago. If anybody needs any help, these people are awesome. Again, thank you so much, everybody. Peace out.
Sound guy.
Mic drop.
Oh my God, then the sound.